Hey, this is Mr. McCarthy here. Today's assignment focuses on this particular video, iPad promo video. I'm going to refer to it as Life on iPad. If you haven't looked at it yet, look at the video before you continue with this one. Okay, so this is going to be your primary focus for today's class. Okay? All right. I'm going to continue. So by now you should have watched this video. If you haven't, go back and take a look at it. Okay. This is the assignment. Over the summer, after viewing this particular commercial, I recognized the value of continuity that the producers of this video were able to create. And so I spent some time taking it apart, analyzing it, and I'm requiring you for this assignment to do the same thing. Okay? So I'm just going to read through this, follow along if you would. So this particular commercial is composed of 66 individual shots cut into 28 individual sequences. So if you look at the bottom of this graph here, you see 28 individual sequences. This represents seconds. So as you can see, the first sequence is approximately 13 seconds in length. It's the longest of all the sequences. And the second longest of the sequences is the very last one. Okay, everything else in between is much shorter. That first sequence contained 7 shots, and in my opinion, the reason that this is the longest is because the director, the producers, are trying to establish the opening visuals and to pull you into the work. Okay, there are sequence 3 contains 5 shots. Sequence 9 contains 4. Every other sequence is composed of 3 or fewer shots. It's represented by this graph. And then, as you can see, 6 sequences contain only 1 shot. All right. So let's take a look at this. This is sequence 1. These are the 7 shots of sequence 1. We've talked about beginnings, and this beginning occurs with the push of a button. The machine starts, we see the gears turning, we see the roof opening, and we see basically the content of this video, which is the iPad. The iPad shows up in every one of these sequences, and what's really interesting is the manner in which the director keeps your eyes focused on each successive iPad as it appears. And so this is going to be one of the things that we focus on. Your assignment today is to focus on 3 of the 5 continuity types. So let me just review these with you quickly. There's content continuity, movement continuity, and position continuity. There's also audio continuity that focuses on sound in general, and then dialogue. We are not going to focus on 4 and 5 today. What you are charged with doing here is to identify 1 through 3 in the sequences, the transitions that occur between sequences. Okay, so take a look here. I'm going to just zoom in on this a little bit. And what I've done in this image is I put a little circle there. When we look at this portion of the video here it comes. Notice how we're zooming in. Where does your eye go? For me, and for everybody I talk to who's looked at this commercial, the eye is on this person. And I think the reason that our eye goes there is because this person is in such an exciting and unusual place. This looks like it's Altamont Pass, close to us. And as we zoom in closer, our eye is focused on this person. What I want you to pay attention to now is as we move closer here, the sequence is going to end and the next one's going to begin. Watch what the director does. Watch what the producers do and replace this person in this sequence with something else. Okay, so our eye's focused here. And then with the new transition, our eye is placed, it's directed within the frame to land on the iPad. And so we see that represented here. Okay? And so this is what we would call position continuity. We would call it position because the director places our eye in this position in the frame and then switches sequence so that our eye lands on what the director wants it to land on, which is the product that they're selling for this commercial. Okay? So what we're looking at here is position continuity. Okay? When we look at the next sequence, I want you to focus on movement continuity. So take a look at what happens here. Okay, so notice that we are moving from right to left. See that? Notice that when it transitions to the speed skater in the next shot, we are also moving right to left. You see that? And this is represented by the arrows here. So the topic is completely different. The position doesn't match because the skater is a little bit closer to here in the frame, but because of the pan that's taking place in this frame and the pan that's taking place here, it feels as if we are swooped in to the next sequence. This is movement continuity. Okay, so let's move forward. Okay, so there doesn't appear to be a great deal of continuity or matching between the speed skater and this diver. Okay, so we're not gonna focus our attention on that. What I do want to do is focus your attention on the diver to the next diver. So take a look. Here he comes. Now he's entering the water. He's entering the water here, and then suddenly this pops up. Notice that the bubbles from the high diver transition to the bubbles of the underwater diver. So with this, we have what's called content continuity. It's the same content, bubbles to bubbles. All right? In addition to that, our eyes are resting on this part of the frame, and let's see how this develops. Notice where that finger's pointing? On the iPad. Okay, so between, I guess it would be 3 and 4, we not only have content continuity, because we have bubbles to bubbles, but we also have position continuity, because, let's take a look at it one more time. Splash here, there is where our eye lands. Okay, so for this one, it's both content continuity and position continuity. Okay? This is what I want you to do for the assignment. Okay, so if you would, on a separate piece of paper, you're going to handwrite this assignment. Fill yours out just like this. Instead of putting question number 1 or activity number 1, we're going to go 1 to 2. This represents sequence 1 to sequence 2. We're talking about transition here. As we've already discussed, for 1 to 2, it's position continuity. And then when we get to 2 to 3, right here, it's movement continuity. Okay, so I'm going to go 3 to 4. Let's go back to 3 to 4. I think we discussed 3 to 4. There doesn't appear to be any strong link between these two, although I guess you could say, see where that finger's pointing? That's exactly where our diver is. So let's call that position continuity as well. 4 to 5 is the diver, so we're going to call it position continuity. comma, content. Okay. Your assignment is to identify all the transitions throughout the, how many are there? 28 sequences. Okay. If you have time to complete this in class, good for you. If you don't have time to complete this in class, this is your homework. Understand that this is due at the beginning of class on Tuesday. So if you expect to get points for this assignment, you have to have it completed beginning of class Tuesday. I'm going to actually write that on the actual web page as a reminder, but the responsibility is on you. Okay? Look forward to seeing you folks on Tuesday. This is Mr. McCarthy signing off.